Season's greetings, Oilers fans. Welcome to another episode of Ask an Oiler. We're here today with Zack Stortini. Zack, thank you very much for doing this today.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. We got a whole bunch of questions emailed in, and we had to basically pick them at random because there were just too many to go through. So we've got a few, and let's see how many we get through.
Nothing too personal, I hope.
No, nothing too personal.
Okay.
We'll get to that. We don't want to make you cry on this show.
All right.
That's not our goal.
Pretty sensitive guy, so take it easy on me.
I know, buddy. Okay, first one's an easy one from Michelle in Edmonton. And Michelle asks, what is your favorite off-ice activity?
Wow, it depends on the season. In the summertime, I enjoy golfing a lot. Getting out and enjoying the outdoors. Here at Edmonton, there's a lot of great attractions that you're able to go down the river valley. Walk along there. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Like getting out in the community. There's lots of great activities in the community, like when the Edmonton Zoo is a really fun spot to go to and see all the cool animals there for sure.
So it sounds like spending as much time outside as possible.
Yeah, I'm definitely an outdoors kind of guy for sure.
Yeah, and you got to take in what you can in Edmonton in the summertime.
Absolutely, enjoy it, and then, in the wintertime it's great too, get outside, I don't have my GT up here, but, I like to go outside and get some fresh air and, also the great restaurants that we have here too, I enjoy the food that we have and the cultures, the different types of cultures that we have here as well.
So you said your GT isn't here, is it back at home?
It is back at home, yeah, I think it hasn't been used in a couple of years, but that was always, a lot of fun growing up, going GT and tobogganing down the hills. It's a lot of fun.
It seems like Edmonton's becoming your home, though. You're one of the players that actually spent the entire summer here. So when does the GT make the permanent move to Edmonton?
I've been bugging my parents to ship it up to me, but I think they're saying just buy a new one here, so I might just have to do that.
Yeah, it's probably about $19.99, so they might just want to suck it up.
Yeah, I think so.
If anyone needs a Christmas gift for Zach, there you go, a nice new GT snow racer. All right, next question comes from Chris in Edmonton, and Chris asks, if you could get in a fight with someone in the history of the NHL, who would it be and why?
Jeez, I don't know if I'd want to, fight a lot of the guys, in the history of the NHL, there's a lot of tough guys, a lot of, boyhood heroes that, I grew up watching and learning about. I think one of my favorite fighters of all time is not an NHL hockey player, but a boxer, Muhammad Ali. I'm a huge Muhammad Ali fan. I watch a lot of his tapes and again, read books on him and things like that. So he's definitely one of the greatest fighters, I think, of all time.
Yeah, if you had a time machine, you'd want to go back and take a couple rounds with Muhammad. How do you think you'd
I don't think I'd want to fight him, I just want to go see him, hang out with him, one of those kind of things. But definitely don't want to fight a guy like that.
Fair. And lots of parallels between boxing and the fighting that we're on the ice these days. In fact, you guys are training more and more with boxers and those types of fighters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the boxers, the UFC fighters, guys like that. For the skill of fighting in hockey, those guys definitely have a lot of knowledge, I guess, obviously on fighting, and they're great guys to work with. They work extremely hard. They're in crazy shape, so they're great guys to train with.
No doubt. All right, next question comes from Tyler in Calgary. Tyler says, what's your secret for your mental preparation for each hockey game?
I don't know if there's a big secret or anything like that, but it's just being focused, ready to go each and every game. I have a routine of preparation activities that I go through. A lot of mental work where you're focusing on different skills of the game, different aspects of the game that you want to prepare for specifically. A lot of communication with my line mates as well, going over different plays that we want to focus on, and our coaching staff does a great job working with us, making sure that everybody's prepared, ready to go for the game.
So that mental preparation, is that something you've always had, or that you've kind of learned along your career?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a learning experience, as you get older. Even talking to guys on the team, we have great leaders here on the team as well that help you out and help you in that area. And a lot of it comes from, learning from them and watching what they do, how they get ready, both physically and mentally for a game, and talking to them. Some of it is, reading books. There's a lot of great books out there that you can read on specifically that mental edge, that mental focus. I had the privilege to work with John Dunn, who is a professor here at the University of Alberta. He's worked with our team quite a bit, and he's a great guy to talk to of being mentally prepared and that mental preparation for games.
Yeah, that's a huge aspect of the game. I've got a buddy who's an Olympic athlete, and he pays a huge amount of money to have a sports psychologist, just for the mental aspect of the game. It's become huge.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's obviously a lot of money to do that too, and we were fortunate to have John, with the team here for a couple of years. But for people that are looking to go that route, there's many other routes to go, and talking to people that have that experience is definitely a huge part of it. The privilege of talking to Kevin Martin, who is a world-renowned renown. You know, obviously one of the best in the world Olympic curler. You know, he's a great guy to talk to, very knowledgeable, very smart, and just, you know, chatting with him for, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, you could just see, you know, why he's so successful. And it's just, you know, the mental, you know, the mental strength that guy has is incredible.
Yeah, he seems like a real focused guy, and that's obviously a sport where mental focus would be huge.
It's huge, yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving on. Next question comes from Jenny, I think, in St. John's. I know the answer to this question, but she says, just wondering if you got a dog after all. As a fellow dog lover, I really enjoyed your segment with the Edmonton Animal Shelter. I have 2 dogs myself that came from the shelter, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a huge animal lover. You know, obviously had the opportunity to work with the Edmonton Humane Society here in Edmonton, and you know, they're great people over there, and they have a wonderful facility where they you know, they take in you know, all kinds of animals and take care of them until they're ready to be adopted, and they do a great job over there. You know, I still haven't you know, adopted a dog yet. I did have a dog for 12 or 13 years. She passed away from old age, and you know, it's always hard making that transition. You know, she was a huge part of the family, so it's a hard thing to you know, to overcome. And you know, I think maybe one day when the timing's right, I will make that decision. But
it's not a very easy schedule you've got for owning a dog.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you want to be fair to the animal too, and if I'm not around, to take care of it properly, and you know, give it the time it needs, and you know, make sure it gets its exercise and you know, play time and everything like that. And if I'm not able to do that, then it's not fair to the animal, and it's better that somebody else who does have that time to be able to adopt that animal.
And it's getting back to the Edmonton Humane Society a bit. I mean, that was a real cool thing that you did, went out and supported them, and their new facility in Edmonton really is amazing, and it really is cool how you can go out and spend time and socialize with the dogs and get to know them. There's different rooms for all those sorts of things, and not just dogs, but cats and other pets as well. And just what a great place. Eh?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know how big and bright it is in there. It's a really happy place. You know, you see some of the facilities that you know, take in animals like that you know, aren't very happy and are pretty sad to go to. You know, but this place here in Edmonton is incredible. You know, they have a big warm facility and warm, caring people there too, and it's just a lot of fun to go. And you know, even if you don't end up adopting an animal, you just go there and hang out and play with them. You can take some for walks and, you know, pet the cats, things like that. Yeah. So it's pretty neat to see.
Right on. Okay, next question comes from Austin in Edmonton, and Austin says, who was your favorite player, NHL player, growing up?
Well, I've had a couple. You know, there's lots of guys that I enjoy the way they play, but the one that stands out the most is Gordie Howe. You know, I think you know, talking about him quite a bit lately, but he's one of the best players I think to ever play the game. Just the way he plays, you know, hard. You know, does everything. He hits, he fights, he scores. You know, I really admire the way he plays, and I'm definitely a huge fan of his.
Now, is that are you a new fan of Gordie Howe's, or have you always been? Because, you know, it seems like something you're at an age where, you know, you didn't see him growing up, but, you know, you look back at the tapes now and
yeah, you know, like you said, I never had the opportunity to watch him play live growing up, but I've always been a fan of his. I think you know, I got the appreciation from my dad. He was a Gordie Howe fan growing up, and you know, he kind of, you know, lead me in that direction, and I had the opportunity to read a few books, you know, do the book reports in school and stuff like that. On something, you got to choose somebody that you want to do it on, and I chose Gordie Howe, and you know, I just fell in love with the way he plays the game, and you know, how he is off the ice as well too. You know, he's you know, one of the pioneers in the NHLPA, and just a great all-around human being, and I'm a huge fan of his.
Right on. Yeah, I think I did my report. I remember doing a report on Kevin Lowe, which is one of those surreal things that, you know, when I'm sitting at a dinner table now with him on the road or whatever, it's like, wow, you know, I did a report on you in grade 5.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next question comes from Miles in Bonnyville, and Miles asks, which player currently playing for the NHL, do you have the most respect for, or is it hard to choose just one?
Yeah, that's hard to choose just one, you know, especially like when you're able to see the guys that we have on our team. We play with them every day, and you know, I come to the rink and see how hard they work and what kind of people they are. You know, it's you know, I'm a huge fan of lots of guys on the team. You know, our captain Ethan Morrow is a tremendous leader. You know, works so hard on and off the ice. You know, he's fantastic in the community, and you know, a great leader and role model on the ice as well. And you know, he's just you know, I'm a huge fan of his as well. You know, you got Sheldon Surrey. You know, he's been like a big brother to me. You know, looking after me and you know, working with me, talking to me. You know, I can't thank guys like that enough. You know, Stevie Stais is another guy. I could go on and on. You know, the more I name, more I leave out, then guys are gonna watch this and go, well, what about me? What about this time I helped you there, and that time I helped So there's tons of guys, all my teammates. I'm obviously huge fans of them and what they do.
Right on. All right, next question comes from Jesse in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Jesse asks, if you could be any other Oiler for a day, who would it be and why?
Any other Oiler? I don't know. There's a couple guys. I like cars a lot. There's some guys with some pretty cool rides. I'd love to go to Sweden one day. Maybe see if Bobby Nielsen will let me take his Ferrari for a spin. Things like that. But I'm happy being myself. I enjoy my role here on the team and playing the NHL, living the dream. It's definitely a dream come true.
Comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I like it. All right, next question comes from Nick in Calgary. Nick asks, what's it like being out at the grocery store? Do people recognize you, or do they just let you carry on doing what you're doing?
I think that's one of the neat things about being here in Edmonton. Everybody's a fan. We get such great fan support here. It's incredible, and what a warm feeling. When you go into a grocery store or a local store here in Edmonton, and somebody comes up to you and they talk to you. It's a great community, a very open and warm community, and I'm very proud to be here in Edmonton.
Very cool. Next question comes from Jarrett in Hinton, Alberta. Jarrett says, what is your favorite stick to use? What type of stick are you using right now?
I use Warrior. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a great company. I use Warrior gloves, sticks. So if anybody from Warrior is watching, you want to throw me a few extra sticks or something like that, that's great. But no, I've been using that all year, and that's what I enjoy using. Right on.
Anything special about your stick or different about your stick than most, or?
Not really, pretty standard curve. It's the old I think Wendell Clark curve. I remember using that growing up, so they molded that into a pattern for me, and tape it the same way I did since I was 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah, and Jarrett also asks, why do you wear number 46?
I was given number 46 in my first year of training camp, and liked the number here in Edmonton, and liked the number and just stuck with it.
Yeah, seems to work for you.
Knock on wood so far, right?
Knock on wood. All right, last question comes from Stacy in Bell, and Stacy says, how did you feel when you got your first Gordie Howe hat trick? Now, we talked to you after the game. The media came up to you after the game. You're a humble guy. Of course, you say you're just happy to help the team. But, that's got to feel pretty cool to get a Gordie Howe hat trick.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about earlier, I'm definitely a huge fan of his. And, it's a pretty neat thing to do. It doesn't happen too often, in the game of hockey. And, it's very important that we won that game as well. It's nice to get the game-winning goal when you score the goal for the Gordie Howe hat trick. So it's, more importantly we won, but it's a great feeling to get that Gordie Howe hat trick as well.
Right on. Okay, Zach, well, thank you again very much for being here today, doing this today.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it, and really appreciate everything you do for the team and for the community and for the website and all of us. You're one of the good ones, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Okay, stick around and find out who our next guest will be by logging on to EdmontonOilers.com.